Hey, it's just the three of us. We could make it if we try. Yeah, see, now I've run all the listeners off already, but welcome to No Driving Gloves. John's in a really good mood.
Why are you in a good mood, John?
I don't know. I've just had a good couple of weeks. That's
good to know, brother. That is good to know.
Because the rest of us haven't.
Well, that's what happened.
Maybe we have.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't seen the. I would say the bald hairy one, but we got two of those.
Yeah, I finally made it.
Well, you've been working your butt off. I saw, who did you pay off to get the Cruising the Coast T-shirt?
Well, that's kind of funny. I got asked that question a couple times while we were down in Biloxi in the Mississippi Gulf Coast area. And I'll tell you what I told them. There are a lot of secrets in this industry that I share. I don't think nothing about it. But then again, there's some that you just kind of keep to yourself. And a lot of that has been at the right time, been at the right time, been at the right place at the right time around the right people. And that's exactly how that's happened. And it's actually happened to us twice. The right car, the right time, the right place, the right person sees it. It's kind of a luck of the draw. I mean, they can pick any car in the country, and for them to have picked a Big Oak Garage build twice is pretty special. And to pick one to be on the 25th anniversary of that show is even more special. So,
yeah, I did take it as a pretty big honor. It was a little bit of a surprise when I saw somebody posting about it. I didn't realize that it happened to you. And, a lot of luck comes with being in the right place at the right time, and a lot of success comes with a lot of luck. So,
right. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, getting the right customer in the door. Yeah, you've got to be able to produce what they want. But a lot of it's just luck of the draw. I mean, there's so many hot rod shops that do super high-end work. For that guy to pick you, there's a little bit of luck involved. And, I mean, a lot of it's personality, yeah, and a lot of it's the work that you've done in the past, but a lot of it's just that person walking in your door or picking up the phone and calling you, or, I mean, there's a lot to it. So I'm trying to share the.
Yeah, I should have emailed you and got that instead of putting the Lotus 17 behind me tonight. I could have put your car.
Epic fail, John. Epic fail.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, spent a week in the Mississippi Gulf Coast doing the T-shirt thing, and how that works is pretty awesome for the guys that don't know. If you're picked to be on the T-shirt, you're a feature car. Sometimes they only have one. Sometimes they have two. I don't know if they've ever had three or not. But you have a schedule with that car. You don't just show up over here because you want to go over there today. You're where the hot celebrity is that's signing autographs next to the T-shirt trailer. You're parked right in front of the T-shirt trailer. They give you prime parking at every event that you're supposed to go to. So, sometimes we'd be having to get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning to be at a certain event by 8. And for those of y'all that have been to Cruising the Coast, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, not all that bad. Thursday starts getting a little crazy. Friday is even crazier, and Saturday is just it's not even movable hardly. So they schedule the celebrity car or feature car. It's done Friday midday because you have to drive these cars. It's not like you can just trailer them over to the venue and unload them and just right there. You have to drive them through town, through the traffic. If you've got one that don't run good, that likes to run hot, this is, you need to deny the T-shirt deal because you will get embarrassed. So Friday after our day was over, midday at Best St. Louis, I talked to the Rod, and I was like, "Hey, we want to go to Ocean Springs tomorrow." He was like, "Y'all aren't scared. Y'all are done. Y'all can go home." And I was like, "No. We want to go to Ocean Springs and spend the day at Ocean Springs. Can you, work us out a parking spot at the T-shirt trailer for tomorrow?" And Rod kind of laughed, and he was like, "It may be difficult because it's not scheduled." He said, "I've never had this asked to be done before." So
damn you asking to do more work.
Right. But it's just the Ocean Springs on Saturday is a place to be. And we wanted to be there with the car. I mean, we enjoy car shows. We enjoy driving these cars, showing them. Unfortunately, Mark, the guy we built the car for, had to go home Saturday morning early, so he wasn't able to be there. But he was there all week. But yeah, Dad and I hopped in it and cruised over to Ocean Springs and sat in traffic for an hour and a half with that supercharged big block and just cruised right on in and parked and had a hell of a day.
What'd you do last weekend, Eric?
Was there a weekend? I don't even know. I don't remember what I did last weekend.
I kind of overscheduled myself too. I'm kind of chasing my tail, but I think it's my fault. I just put off everything for quite a while, and all of a sudden it's caught back up with me. So I got like 14 days with at least something that doesn't involve me scheduled, and it's kind of annoying. I don't like that feeling anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think last weekend I did not achieve working on cars. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. If I actually stepped away from it for a few minutes and kind of revitalized myself, maybe that's the way to look at it. Because this weekend, as everybody that's been listening knows, is going to be kind of like Will's past week, which is going to be jam-packed weekend of cars. For at least myself, I haven't heard if John's actually going to pick himself up and drive to Chattanooga, Tennessee, or not.
Well, you heard what I just said. I can't figure out how to get around, how to make it up there.
That's this weekend?
At Chattanooga?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I won't be able to make it.
Yeah,
if I have to carry the No Driving Gloves banner at Chattanooga, that's pretty disappointing. I mean,
yeah, because you got to run by Will's shop and pick it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait a minute. I've been carrying the banner all freaking summer.
Yeah, good. That's where it belongs, is with you. I don't want that extra work.
So maybe we should buy 2 of those things.
Probably not a bad idea.
One with Will and one with John.
I think No Driving Gloves needs to buy a van, like a No Driving Gloves van that we can,
John doesn't have a problem buying a van.
As long as it's full size from the 70s and we can do an airbrushed mural on the side.
Oh, yeah. With an LT5.
Sure. Why not? Guess Will's building it.
They quit making the LT5, but I bet Derek could probably get his hands on one.
I bet you he knows where one is. Maybe 2.
They're probably all on Marketplace.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Marketplace and online, man, have you guys noticed that the cars coming up, at least the ones I'm seeing on all the online listings, are kind of sucking lately? I don't know. I've been disappointed. Maybe it's just me.
I haven't had time to look.
I've occasionally browsed, and there's been some cool stuff, but everybody's believing that used car prices are astronomical. And yeah, they're up there, but there was a lime green Toyota 4Runner 2022, blah, blah, blah. It's some special color, like $45,000 over sticker.
What?
Remember Keith from a few episodes back?
You said Toyota 4Runner?
Yeah. I mean, it's not a Bronco. It's not a Maverick. It's not, like I said, Keith from a few episodes ago, $5,000 with him, he'll make it lime green for you.
Exactly.
So are we going down a complaining road there? Because
I don't know. I was talking to somebody about it the other day, like literally 2 days ago. We were talking about it. I think it was somebody at work, and we were just like, it's been disappointing lately. There hasn't been anything great out there, unfortunately. I'm not trying to complain. I mean, I don't want to complain. I'm just saying it right now. It's kind of seems to be drying up or something. I don't know. Maybe it's because there are no new cars, so everybody's keeping the good ones that are running and still driving them. And
I don't believe that
junk that's coming up.
I don't believe the new car thing. There are cars out there. They don't have 60 days of inventory on the lots, but there are cars out there. I bought one recently and got a great deal. Another friend of mine bought one recently, got a great deal. I mean, and it's not astronomical. I don't follow. I don't understand. Now, I think the Lexus that I looked at 2 years ago, those are like $10,000 more than they were 2 years ago. But yeah, I don't know. There's, as far as quality and, specialty cars, a lot of junk out there. I've seen a lot of junk. I haven't seen quality used cars out there.
What is a quality used car, John?
Well,
the name of the place that you're buying it from.
Well, I'm thinking somebody on one of the.
It's like the old GM slogan: "Okay, used cars."
Right.
I mean, I guess
So is this a good car? It's okay.
It's not. They're not showing up on Marketplace. You've got to know somebody. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some, Solstice GXPs going around. I've seen. I meant to send you. Maybe I did send you the Beretta V8 show car. Appeared and somebody has it. I can't remember.
You did not send it to me, but I think I heard about it.
Yeah. I don't know if he's actually owned it for a while or however that came down, but I saw that and I thought, I should send that to Derek. And I've seen one or two like good Beretta GTs, but then I've seen them that, they not only lived in Wisconsin, they kind of stored them under the big pile of salt, between seasons. Yeah. That's what I'm seeing is people are trying to unload their absolutely worthless, things that you couldn't give away for stupid money. And it's just
see,
out there.
John and I grew up in the North, so we can make fun of that whole scenario of cars and how they're treated in the North. And, oh boy, have I got a deal for you. This thing is cherry. Yeah. Check this out. Just a little rust in the floorboards. You can see through. It's okay.
I think I was talking to somebody the other day about rust in car came from the North and there was a lot of rust. And I can't remember.
As we all know, you just get a stop sign, pop rivet that bad boy to the floor, and you are good to go.
Well, we talked last week about me using the old Folgers can or Diet Pepsi cans a couple times till the whole exhaust finally fell off. That's a professional thing Will would have taught me how to do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the brake lines don't rust either.
No. That's actually what happened to my dad's 95 Ram plow truck. He's had this massive 500, 600 foot driveway scaling up the mountain he lived on. And he was plowing downhill once and hit the brakes and ended up deciding to crash into a tree as opposed to the very deep stream across from his driveway because of
this was your dad, you said, John? I am shocked that he was plowing downhill. I thought all parents plowed uphill both ways in 6 feet of snow, carrying their lunch. Isn't that how that story goes?
No, it has something to do with going to school.
Oh, it's going to school, not plowing. Okay.
You do it the easy way. I mean, if the truck's at the top of the hill, you got to go down to start coming back up, I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
Not according to parents, man. They go uphill both ways,
I got my screens backwards and I can't read the dang comments.
Well, so far we have Toby, who is a good friend of mine, saying, "Hi, Derek. Dunkin' Donuts box and a can of Tiger Hair." I mean,
That'll fix it.
Usually I eat donuts while I'm, using Tiger Hair on something. Yeah, I mean, it's
You got to
delicious.
finish the donuts.
Yeah, exactly. You
You
got
got
to
an
eat
empty
the
box.
donuts
Right.
to be able to.
And then
Although, where I grew up.
You finish your donuts and you look like me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, where I grew up, man, we had Dunkin'. I noticed Toby's from that great state of Maine. They really like their Dunkin' Donuts up there. Around me, we had Dunkin', but we had Tim Hortons. And Tim Hortons will put a few pounds on, let me tell you.
I thought that was a Canadian thing. Are you a Canuck, secret Canuck?
Well, no, you remember at Michigan, it's right next to Canada.
Yeah, I crossed the bridge once. That's the extent of my international travels from Detroit to Chatham, Ontario.
Interestingly enough, it is the only border crossing where you actually go south into Canada from the United States. That's right. That is right.
I didn't realize that. They just warned me that the road that I was on after I went across the border was one of the most deadly roads in Canada because...
Yes, it is.
Because that would have been my commute from there to RM, RM, because we were going to have to live in the States because my ex-wife's architecture license at the time wouldn't have necessarily applied in Canada. Now it freaking applies all over the world.
All over the world.
Yeah.
She's in France now.
No, Germany and Korea.
Wow.
So
you messed that one up. The one that got away. It's like the car, that one car. It's the one that got away. Yeah,
but I've found when it comes to cars, and I imagine women are the same thing because most are smart enough not to go back out with me. You
fantasize. Be smart enough to not come back to the show, but
you fantasize about. Let's go down that road. You fantasize about your old cars, but would you really want them back? I mean, I talk a lot about loving my CRXs. One of the things that keeps me away from them right now is, would I really want to drive a 92 horsepower anemic 89 CRX SI in today's world? Would I? No, Derek's a little bit different. What are you driving, a 12 horsepower Chevy?
It's like, come on. You said 92 horsepower. That's massive.
I have these fantasies and the life that I had with these cars, and even like the one behind me. This is the first car I restored when I was at the Barber Museum. They're neat, but would I want to really go back and spend time with them again? When it comes to a restoration, I'm damn glad they're gone. That was one problem with the museum, is you still had to look at the damn thing day after day after day. At least when I was White Post and Stellar and that, we shipped them off and you never had to see them again, hopefully.
Well, John, that makes me question, are you really a car guy? Because, that's what makes you a car guy, is wanting to drive that old car, wanting to enjoy it the way you used to. And I mean, that's, to me, that's one of the biggest things about them, is getting in them and driving them, whether it's a square body Chevy that's completely stock that rides like dog crap, or one that's been built with a custom chassis with a big horsepower LS motor that rides and drives and handles like a Corvette.
Well, let's take you.
Hang on. I want to know what dog crap rides like.
Your cars that you have.
I've never.
It all depends. Sometimes it's a little spongy. Sometimes it's actually a pretty rough ride.
Go get in a four-wheel drive square body Chevrolet truck. That rides like
what do you think I drove as a kid on the farm?
There you go.
Body Chevys.
There you go. All right, John, what you got?
And how
would you want? Go back. when we met, you were driving, I believe, a 2-door Impala Caprice.
Let's see. The first year,
or did you have the
first year? I had a square body 2-wheel drive Blazer.
Okay, I got them backwards.
Yeah.
Would you? I know. Well, we're not going to go there because everybody will drive a square-bodied Chevy right now.
There you go.
But would you go back to that Impala? I mean, you had the airbag issues with it. You had, is that something that you would long to go back to? I guess first, is it one of your favorites?
No, I would not, because I didn't really. I mean, that car was kind of cool for the time, but it wasn't really something that I would want now. Now, my K5 2-wheel drive Blazer, I would take it exactly the way it was when I rolled into McPherson when I was 18 years old. I would take it just like that right now. If I could hop in it and drive it, I'd drive it every day. And it rode like crap. I mean, it was lowered correctly with spindles and springs and the flip kit and all that stuff. But it did not. It rode okay, handled like crap. I mean, it was just an old square body Blazer that was lowered with a pretty hot engine in it.
Hey, Lane. Yeah, and I mean, I had cars lowered every way. Cut the springs, turned the torsion bars till they were about ready to drop out.
Oh yeah.
My Isuzu, actually, I took the bump stops out and lowered it far enough that it actually, the rear axle just actually rode on the frame, or the frame rode on the rear axle.
Been there, done that.
Yep. And we lived with it. I mean, I remember a couple of people complaining about the ride quality, but I didn't care. I'd rather look good than feel good.
Well, see, that's me. I call it sacrificing comfort for cool. And, I'm all about it. I mean,
and I can go with that, but I guess I'm questioning. You're saying I'm not a car guy because I don't want a car for my youth or my old car. I'll be honest. I was driving my Mini today, and I wrote a huge paragraph about it, just because it's fun. It's, and like I said, I'm happy. The car is actually making me very happy. I enjoy going places. I enjoy going out with it. People talk to me about it. It's weird what it draws. And that's what I enjoy. That's what I think, of being a car guy. I mean,
it doesn't have to be an old car to be a car guy.
I mean, you as long as you've got a car you enjoy and you take pride in, and I really don't care if you're driving an 80 Bonneville 4-door. I don't care if you're driving a new, Chevrolet Impala 4-door. If you've got a couple tweaks or something to it, and don't roll into, something you got off Enterprise rental car lot. But and honestly, I almost did that one year because I rented an Oldsmobile the same week that Oldsmobile closed or something, went out of business. And I was at an orphan car show. And I was in the area for an orphan car show, and I really thought about, I'm going to drive this Oldsmobile there. And it was a brand new. What year was that, Derek? 02, 03 Oldsmobile went away, or I can't remember last year. Oldsmobile.
I thought you meant the year you were driving somewhere. I don't know.
I can't remember what year Oldsmobile closed. But whatever. I mean, I picked up the car on a Friday. The show was on a Sunday, and I go, maybe I should enter this thing as an orphan. But that's the only time I think you get away with renting a car and going to a show and be legit. Don't go rent a Ferrari and then go to a car show just to pretend you have a Ferrari.
04.
There we go.
Yeah.
I was just saying, I think it was right around 04, that 345, because as I recall, it was not terribly long after the 100th anniversary.
Yeah. The Aurora was a kind of there. And what was the big car? Or was the Aurora?
Delta 88, maybe?
The Aurora and the I can't remember.
They had a Delta 98. Delta 98.
But that was earlier. You're looking at the
late 90s.
Olds Intrigue, was it?
That's it. The Intrigue and the Aurora.
Yep.
So, North Star V8s, the good North Star V8s. If there was one. So
now, see, I would go back. the two cars, there's three vehicles. Really, I'm going to count it two. I'm going to count it as two vehicles, my Beretta and the GTO. And I would have both of those back in a heartbeat. I drove the Beretta through high school and most of college. And the GTO was, of course, the toy car, first car I got, but was, quickly decided that I would not be driving it as a daily driver, thanks to my dad. They don't watch the show, so who cares? But I'd take both of those back right away. But it's kind of cool because you think about it, you go back and, talk about the first cars you had and whether or not you'd go back, and the conversation that we just had about, and that we're carrying on about looking cool and not worrying about anything else. Back in high school, that's what myself and a number of my buddies that were into cars, that was the way we approach it. Yeah, there were the guys in school and say in both high school and college when I got there that were the other gearheads, the how much horsepower can you make? And yeah, that's cool. I probably will do it someday on something, build a hot rod and try to build it. But, to the guys I hung out with, it was mostly like, man, that car looks good. That car just looks cool. Who cares if it has a 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder engine? It just looks good and it's fun to drive. So, and that's the thing. Like, it's the old saying, if you don't turn around and look back at the car that you drove when you park it in a parking lot, you don't own the right car. And I'll tell you what, when I had my first pickup that I bought, my GMC that I had 2 years ago after I traded my F-150 in, I never really, it was a good truck, but I never really was passionate about it. And then this 100th anniversary Silverado came up, and I'll tell you what, I went and looked at it on the lot and took pictures of it so I could keep looking at it that night. And I couldn't stop looking at the thing on my phone. I was like, you know what? That's the truck I need. And I still turn around and look at the thing.
I know that, I'm sitting here as you say that. And, I always did it with my Caterham. You always look back at it. I honestly think I did it more often with my Elan M100. There are those cars that you definitely turn around and, look back and go, that's a cool car. And sometimes you do it to somebody else's car every time you see it. And you go, I guess that's when you start realizing you're kind of jealous of something else. But, so what car, let's just go with this simple question. What car have you owned in the past that you would want back right now, as it was when you owned it? You can't update it. You can't change it.
What if you still own it and it's just not running right now?
Well, you never throw anything away.
I do too. So how far back are we talking? 10 years, 15 years?
Well, let's see here. I'm 40.
Your whole life, Will.
I would say from the time you started driving at 16 to now, because, I don't want my Omni 024 back. If I had all the money in the world and that, I probably would look for a light blue over dark blue Omni 024. So I just had one. But if it's something you had at 16, would you want it back today? Or would you rather have the memories?
Well, being that I have my vehicle from when I was 16, obviously I wouldn't get rid of it and I would want it back. So,
but okay, you have it and it's out back of your shop. We know that. Would you, if you decided, okay, I'm going to put this thing back together, would you put it back together the way you had it when you were 16?
If I could snap my fingers and have it and drive it every day, absolutely. So, but being that I still have it, I don't think that that's fair for me to answer that question.
No, it's perfectly fair because it's it's like Leno say with his what's it, a 55 Olds was his first car that of course he still owns, but when he restored it, he updated some things with it. You know, he used our favorite word, resto modded it.
See, I'm with Lane. I'm with Lane over here. He still got his first car, but would want his second car back too. You know, I think of all of the ones that I've gotten rid of over the past. There's only like one or two that I'm just like, nah, I wouldn't really want that back.
Say, hey Ray, I just saw you popped in there too. Former guest Ray Eddings.
Yeah, yo. I had one of them TSI turbocharged Eagle Talons.
You're actually admitting that on the podcast.
Yeah,
Nice.
dude, that car was fast.
I
outrun a lot of Mustangs in that car.
I love those cars.
Wish I had
first generation
Mustang.
DSM.
Yep, I wish I had that car back. I had a 98 S10 that was badass. I wish I had it back. I had a 79 Chevrolet 4-wheel drive. Wish I had it back.
Now, I want to hang on. Does everybody have a story about one of their cars whooping the crap out of a Mustang?
Oh yeah.
No, I'm literally. Will's got one. John,
I got one.
I got one. It's okay.
You know, my 90 Isuzu Pup, the convertible pickup with the 350 V8 we put in it. That was the best thing about it is, you know, it was quiet as a freaking Continental. And you pull up to a stoplight and pulled up to the one stoplight, guy in his 5.0 sitting there top down, got his girlfriend with him. And she starts looking and pointing at the truck and he looks at me all disgusted. And I just kind of waved at him and he took off, you know, light
Did you wave at him or her?
Huh?
Did you wave at him or her? Because I think I would have waved at her.
I think I actually waved at him, but it just no, I'm going to say it. He was pissed off, and that I was ready. The light changed, and not only did she like the way the truck looked, I left him, you know, and I just thought, you know, your fast car, you know, so just typical, you know, 20-year-old teenage attitude. So.
Now, when I had my TSI Talon, I was drag racing a pro bracket car at the time, and every Friday night was, you know, just playing around at the drag strip, and it was the local hangout for, you know, all the kids and stuff. So number one, I knew my way around the drag strip. Number two, I knew how to cut a light, and I outrun a lot more cars than outrun me in that little 4-cylinder Eagle Talon. Of course, it would leave the line like crazy. And most of the time I would cut a whole lot better light than who I was racing, and I would win. They couldn't reel me in, you know. Now, if we had another quarter mile to go, would be a different situation, but we're racing quarter mile, and I know that, and I'm using that to my advantage. And I mean, there were several times where we went through the traps and I won and outrun a Mustang or even Camaros at the time, and they wouldn't even stop. They would just leave the track and not come back. It was hilarious. It was some of the funniest stuff that I've ever done. And y'all know me, I'm a V8 guy, but
yeah,
outrunning those little cocky kids in the Mustangs and Camaros in a little 4-cylinder was pretty fun.
See, I never had one of those. I almost got a Plymouth Laser RS when they first came out, which was kind of the TSI version of the Laser, except no all-wheel drive was ever offered in that first generation.
Ray Eddings hit the nail on the head. They were
exactly.
They were quick, not fast.
Yeah, and the all-wheel drive, they just grabbed. I mean, that had to give you a tremendous advantage, you know, with the fact, you know, you get a little bit more traction out of the thing. But I'm thinking, you know, see, I would consider a Talon TSI as a car to go back to because I've never had one. Yeah. But
that's not the question at hand.
I know that's not the question. I'm really sitting here, you know, I'm surprised
you didn't have one.
I've had 6 or 7 CRXs. I've had CRXs, the Hyundai Velociter. I had a 12 and a 16, and I think and I had my 90 Isuzu Pup, and my ex-wife bought a 94 Isuzu Pup. I think those are the only cars I've ever even repeated. I counted up the other day, and I own like 60. I've owned 61 cars. I officially went through the list, and 61 cars in my life. And, 5 of them have been CRXs. 2 of them have been Velocitors. But other than that, I've never duplicated a car. I guess I don't live in the past. And I've had the opportunity to.
I don't think I've really duplicated many either. I've had a lot of square body pickup trucks, but they were, the kind of flip or whatever, but as far as daily drivers,
I've only had one square body.
I guess I've had 2 OBS Chevrolet trucks as a daily driver, a 94 extended cab and the 96 2-door Tahoe that I drive now.
Derek, what do you have? I'm still working to see if there's anything I've ever, I've even questioned if I would go back and buy another Caterham.
But I've already said I would have both the Beretta, the 93 Beretta GT back, and the 74 Pontiac GTO. But if I had to choose between the two, it would be the 74 Pontiac GTO for sure. It was just a cool car, and I would have it exactly the way it was. It was pretty much factory stock. We restored it back to the way it should have been. The only thing that was done to it, the engine had been rebuilt before we bought the car, and the guy had put a little bit of a cam in it, more than what it had from factory. So yeah, it was a little more aggressive and stuff, but other than that, it was pretty much bone stock, and it was quick. And that's the thing. It's a 1974 Pontiac GTO on a road course will whoop the snot out of the earlier the 60s era GTOs, the 64, 5, 6 up through when you get into like the Judge, 68 era, that it was a close call, but it would just whoop the snot out of the early GTOs on a road course. Straight line, not so much. But I'll tell you what, that's the car that I whooped the crap out of a Mustang in, and it was like the first generation right after the Fox body. So what was that, like 94, 95?
Yeah.
When they did the Rounder.
The 94 is when the new body style Mustang came out.
I can remember it to this day. I'm a 17-year-old kid. So in other words, probably shouldn't be driving the GTO at the time with that much capability of that car. And I just remember I was coming back from like a cruise-in night or something, and had a friend with me from high school, and we're just tooling along this 2-lane back road where I grew up in Michigan. It's pretty much all back roads. And this car just comes hauling up behind us and gets right on my rear end, hangs out there for a minute. And, I see it's this Mustang, pulls out and just floors it around me like he's like cooler than anything in the world. So I just goosed it a little bit and caught up to him, and he started, being a jerk, hitting his brakes and doing all that fancy driving. And I just remember, I think there's like twice that I recall almost wrecking that GTO. And this is one of them, because I just remember downshifting into third and matting the thing to the floor and the rear end coming loose. And I was all over the road, got control of it, and just launched past him and never saw him again. I think he just gave up, because I I remember about 115 on the speedometer, and I just kind of kept going. So
I have a similar story just happened not long ago. I was driving Tammy's Yukon down 278 right here through Hokes Bluff, and Mustang came up beside me, and hell, we both just nailed it. And dude, I was gone in that Yukon, which just got a 6.2 in it. It's pretty peppy. And it was one of those body style Mustangs that are slow as crap. The 5046, and it was two young kids in that Mustang, and that Yukon just walked off and left them. It was hilarious. I had the whole family with me. I had Tammy and Sarah and Ellie with me. Oh, that was funny. They were like,
did you get yelled at like I do?
Oh no, they were cheering me on.
But that's, going back to what Ray said was, quick, not fast. And that's like, I knew a teacher, a high school teacher at not the high school I went to, but basically the town just south of us. He was an acquaintance of my parents, and he had some old cars, Model A's, stuff like that. And he also had we knew him because he had a Pontiac GTO Judge and the Model A's and stuff, but he'd always have his Judge at different stuff with us with the GTO. And he would, he was a shop teacher, and to teach his kids a lesson, he would basically, whoever was mouthing off about how fast their car was, he would say, all right, bring your car into school, whatever day. I'll bring in one of my cars and we'll drag race. And so he'd bring his his Model A in, and this is bone stock Model A. And he'd all right, let's first 30 feet, first 50 feet, whatever, and whoever wins, this section of the parking lot, we'll go with it. And of course, all the high school kids with their, horsepower built cars and stuff be like, I'm going to beat the teacher, blah, blah, blah. But of course he knew what they were going to do was rev it up, dump the clutch, and spin the rear wheels. And in a Model A, you can't do that. You just push the gas a little bit, let the clutch out, and it goes. Dude, just nice, a little bit of torque, and it just goes. And so he'd just whoop the snot out of the kids every time, because they'd just be sitting there doing a burnout, and he'd just drive away. But that's it. It's about being intelligent, and sometimes it is, being quick, not fast.
Spinning ain't winning.
Yep. John, I think you're muted or something.
Yeah,
you keep trying to talk and you're not there.
Well,
you yell at us.
I'm going to go back and recap some of the other people's cars that they would like to have back. But first, I want to ask a question about Mustangs, because Ray even alluded to it, as they just immediately turn left and hit a pole. So I'm out Saturday night, sitting on the porch of a bar down 5 Points area, Birmingham, and people I'm with were talking, and then you can't hear because somebody goes by with this loud, rackety exhaust that just sounds horrendous. And I said, it's a Mustang. And then a few minutes later, same thing, different Mustang. And like 5 Mustangs in a period of an hour and a half go by. And a person I'm with goes, heard something. Goes, that a Mustang? Sure shit, it will be. And I said, why are they so annoying? I mean, Challengers went by, Chargers went by, and Mopar people are asses. But no, they didn't bother me as, that. When's the last time a Camaro went by? But it just, they don't even sound good. It's not a deep, throaty,
no.
One of the best exhausts I've ever heard was on a Shelby 1000. I'll give it that. I mean, it just rumbled. And I mean, the restaurant we were in, when the owner pulled up, it just rumbled, and the restaurant rumbled. It's one of the best exhausts. And GT40 is probably the best exhaust I've ever heard. Real GT40, not the fake ones from 05, 06, 19, and 20.
Wait, are we only doing road cars? Or?
Well, Well, no, I'm talking GT40 race car. It's one
I don't know. The 4-cam Lotus Ford's got a pretty sweet exhaust, John.
Well,
you know that.
I like that. I like the deep throaty thing, but that's rattly. What is it in my?
It's that Coyote. You open them, the exhaust up on them, and they do not sound good, and they're extremely kind of high pitched and loud.
Is it one of those
it's
cars?
Not even that. It's not even that. John's saying it's all, it's all Mustangs. And I shouldn't say that. I will say the early Mustangs, let's leave the early Mustangs out of this. It's more modern.
Derek, Mustangs. I am alluding to, anything, I want to say 15 or newer or something, but I'm thinking back.
Oh, really? Because I was even go back to Fox Body. I mean, there.
Well, yeah, but a Fox Body, think about it. A Fox Body with Flowmasters, just that 5.0 with Flowmasters, it sounded pretty damn good.
Yeah, those are tolerable. But
sounded pretty good.
But these car payment Mustangs, you can go in and I'll be honest, I was almost guilty of that. I was going to buy that Roush Stage 2 a couple of years ago, and I liked the exhaust sound on it from, I guess, the inside of the car. But is it one of those cars that pipes a good exhaust sound inside of the car so you don't really realize how stupid you're looking to the outside public? It's just, it was just annoying, and it drove us crazy. And I'm going to say it on the podcast. That was a day that history was made because Alabama lost, and we never have to hear about Nick Saban was not defeated by one of his previous coaches or underlings. So, there was other things going on that should have been more annoying than a damn Mustang driving by.
Saturday was a rough day for Alabama. Auburn lost. Alabama lost. Deontay Wilder lost. I think everything from the state of Alabama lost that day.
I didn't see Ruben that day, so I didn't get a chance to talk to him.
And y'all just lost half of our listeners.
Yeah. Deontay Wilder, I think some of our listeners would know. That football thing, that's odd. Let's see here. We had somebody who wanted their 300,000 mile, 400,000 mile, 700,000 mile BMW back.
Yeah. Going back Lane. It's Lane. But going back to and this it's piqued a little curiosity in me, and I should be seeing one of my friends that is a former suspension engineer for Ford Motor Company this weekend in Chattanooga. And I'm going to ask him because I know that Chevrolet with the small block Chevy, they actually very specifically focus on, much like Harley Davidson does, the actual sound of that engine. They actually engineer the sound of that engine, the small block Chevy. I've never asked anybody at Ford if they actually do any sound engineering on their engines. I would assume they do, but knowing that Chevy is so focused on making sure the sound of the small block sounds right. That could be a big difference because, if Ford's not terribly worried about it and they don't put a lot into it, then it isn't going to come out sounding great.
Well, I know that was one of the big projects with Lotus Engineering. Lotus sells some cars, but most of the money Lotus as a company makes is through the engineering department. And they had multiple projects working with multiple manufacturers on the exhaust sound. And I know Maserati took pride and tunes their exhausts, and it's going to sound odd.
That's tuning exhaust though. Is Chevy? I've talked to the small block engineers for Chevy. They do it inside the engine too. It's not just from the ports out. It is internals all the way through the exhaust.
So what about they pay attention to? What about this new flat plane crank LT Z06 motor we've been hearing about? How's that thing gonna sound?
I have no idea. I haven't heard it yet.
I bet it's gonna sound pretty wicked.
But from everything you hear in the recordings of them running, it's over a microphone, so you can't really truly tell. But I think it's going to sound pretty sweet. And Lane, To answer Lane's question, no, I don't believe he did. He was a special vehicles team suspension engineer. So I believe, if I recall correctly, the last project he worked on was a little truck called the Raptor. So I don't believe he did anything with the twin I-beam, but
I was
answering Lane's question. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I was trying to catch up on reading some of those. Oh, yeah. And well, Lane went on, and it's because we were talking about the way engines sound. Wasn't that a topic last week we talked about, and how annoying engines sound anymore? And Lane pointed out last week, it's timing chains or whatever. Doesn't matter.
Well, that's engine noise. That's not exhaust noise. That's just engine
But you just
noise.
got done spending 5 minutes lecturing us that GM tunes the sound of their engines.
Yeah, and have you heard a small block Chevy engine sound bad? I mean, unless you
Not
you
unless the
got
pistons are
knocking
exploding.
because you're hammering on it.
I was going to say, unless the pistons are trying to explore the outside world, no, I think they're actually pretty reasonable. So,
I don't know. Let's ask Will. How them small block Chevys working out for you?
Oh, they sound good. Even when you do that, even when you do that firing order swap thing, they still sound good. So,
So I'm going to quickly recap some of these cars and see if we want to touch on them as we begin to wrap the show up. I got to go back to, let's see here.
People don't usually like you to touch their cars.
700,000 mile BMW is what Lane wants back. Toby wants back his 90 GMC Sierra, 2-wheel drive, short bed, flare side. Impractical in winter. What pickup truck's really practical in
Toby's
winter?
got good taste.
Yeah.
Toby's got good taste.
Lane also was here. 62 was his first Bel Air, and then BMW was the second. So he wants cars 1 and 2 back.
he's still got.
No, he still has car number 1.
Yeah.
Jeez,
That's
John, I don't even have that comment up, and I remember reading that.
94 Sonoma with an LT. What else do we have here? Let's see. 86 Datsun 280Z inline 6.
That'd be a good one to get back.
I've got a question about that, Kim. Are you still on here? In 86, was that not the 300Z? And did you type the wrong year? They weren't making a 280 in 86. The 300 came out in 84.
John would know better than any of us.
Not calling you, not saying you're a liar. I just think you typed the wrong, because 280Z, yeah, I could see wanting that back. I've never had one, but like I said, that's why I want one. I've never had one. I want to experience it. I want to experience everything.
Z cars are extremely important.
Yeah.
The Z series, especially the 280s. I mean, that's, yeah.
Well, the 240s, the most,
yes.
64 Beetle with a 1950 or 1915, excuse me. I actually have a family member I know would love to have back his 60 Beetle. That not being me.
No, wait, Lane I want to jump to Lane's most recent comment, because I guess it's a paradox. The trick to the BMW is changing the timing belt on time. That's deep, Lane. That's deep.
Is that the trick to the BMW, is taking the time to change the timing belt on time?
In a timely manner, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, should we leave on that deep thought?
Wonder what the hourly rate on that is.
Depending on what shop you go to.
Well, we need to go back and listen to the episode we put out about shop labor rates then, and how we justify shop labor rates.
I think you say BMW and the labor rate doubles wherever you're at.
Yeah, exactly.
Say BMW, if you don't have a warranty with it, you run. There's my other hand somewhere over here. I don't know. Well, here's another show.
So don't own a Mustang and don't own a BMW. Is that what you just said, John?
No, I just said don't. I don't have. Ooh, somebody said mini trucks were great, or were great. I agree with Ray. We need to have him back on and talk mini trucks.
Oh Lord, I'm sick that night.
Yeah, BMW, bring my wallet. And
That's what we could do one night. We could just go over all the different, slang meanings of various manufacturer names or nicknames for various manufacturers.
that would get intense and confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There's some good ones from back in the day. Let me tell you.
There's some real good ones for Ford.
No, there's some real good ones for quite a few, which I would never want a Fiat back. I did own one, and ex-girlfriend owned one, so that might be a car you'd say was repetitive in my life. I was behind one tonight, and I can't remember what the license plate was, and I'm in this cheery mood lately, and I go, that license plate really makes that car look cute. Oh, I don't know if a guy was driving it, if a girl was driving it, whatever. But all of a sudden, I had nice, positive emotions about a Fiat. So,
what kind of drugs are you on, John?
I don't know. Somebody
Hang
gave
on,
me
because there have been some pretty cool Fiats throughout time.
I'm not making fun of Fiats. I'm just talking about John being all happy all the time while driving in traffic. He's on some good shit.
Somebody must have upped my antidepressants or something.
I was going to say, double dose.
Oh,
God.
Oh, sorry, Ray. I didn't mean to do that to you. Should we let Will leave on a good V8 note?
No. Lane, what year Ford Festiva? Yes, Toby, yes. Or as I always said, we said in my family, effed. We didn't say effing, we said effed over. Effed over rebuilt Dodge.
I like failed on race day.
Yes, yeah.
I thought that was first on race day, dude.
No, failed. Found on road dead. I can go
Very
all
nice.
night. Found on reservation dump.
I've got a friend that is big. Ironically, he makes roller skate parts. He's your guys' age, being my co-hosts here, because you're significantly younger than me. But he's big into those little Festivas. And I also remember, what was her name? We had a secretary that worked for the business back then when they were new cars, little white one. And it was, kind of like, I would say the perfect girl to drive a Fiat. She was the perfect girl to drive a Festiva. Now that I'm getting all sexist, I probably should end the show
Lord.
before I dig a hole too deep.
Fixed or repaired daily was always one of my favorites.
Yep.
Fix it again, Tony.
Okay.
It's the wrong one, Boomhauer.
I only know foreign things. I got my cursor hanging over the.
If we go back far enough, who remembers or do any of you guys know of what the Up No Hill was? Exactly. Toby will know. I know Toby knows what car was referred to as the Up No Hill.
He asked the final question of the show. I'm already got my little paw print thingy hanging over the end of broadcast, but Festiva or Chevette?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Chevette.
I'm going Chevette.
They're different eras, but I do think the Chevette probably would win that one. Rear-wheel drive, 4-cylinder manual transmission, front-wheel drive, 4-cylinder.
Pregnant roller skate.
Oh.
That's a Festiva.
And I was reading Lane's
especially early Chevette. I like early Chevettes, late 70s.
They make good drag cars too.
I've told you the story about me almost buying a 76 Chevette Woody, factory Woody.
Nice. I was looking at a 78 about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Derek works at the Chevette.
Yes, the National Chevette Museum.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Actually, that was one of the reasons I I have a terrible sense of humor. I was going to get a Chevette, drive it into work one day, and tell everybody I bought my vet, and had to take them out into the parking lot.
I would have
I bought
already
a vet,
done it.
guys.
We had a guy in high school, Joel, that would walk around and kept talking about his vet, and he drove a Chevette.
Little red Chevette.
Mhm. It's a good song. It's a great song. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, listeners, for those that are still remaining out there, our viewers.
I'm a little disappointed
Viewers,
in Toby for not jumping in with the answer to the Up No Hill.
No, we're going to hang up before.
All right, maybe that'll be for next week.
Remember, nodrivinggloves.com. You can check out all the episodes, find links, email us, whatever. Buy us a coffee if you really want us to get a couple of more banners for us to send out. All the links and everything are on the website. Check out the Facebook page, YouTube page, whatever. Everything's linked through it. nodrivinggloves.com. One place to see it all. I'll talk to you guys maybe next week, and we'll talk a little bit about Chattanooga and whatever else is going on.
See you guys in Chattanooga. Whoever's coming, look me
Adios.
up. I'll be with the Corvettes, not the
Adios.
Chevettes.